The sky over El Paso was unusually quiet that night. Noah Carter had just finished cleaning up his tools in the garage behind his house. The air smelled of old oil and fresh desert wind, and he was looking forward to a cup of coffee before bed. But then it happened, a loud boom that shook the ground, followed by a flash of light so bright it lit up the whole sky like lightning. Noah paused. He wasn't the kind of man to panic. Years in the Air Force had taught him to stay calm and think things through. But this wasn't normal. Whatever had crashed wasn't just some thunderstorm or firework. It felt heavy, serious. He grabbed his old flashlight, the one he hadn't used since his military days, and slipped into his boots. Within minutes, he was driving his truck down the dirt road behind his property, heading toward the sound. As he got closer, he could smell something burning. Metal, maybe plastic too, but not wood or leaves. It was sharper, stranger. When he reached the clearing near the edge of the woods, Noah couldn't believe his eyes. Something massive had torn a trench through the trees, leaving behind broken trunks, smoking soil, and pieces of metal that looked like no aircraft he'd ever seen. He stepped out of his truck, heart pounding. The air buzzed with a strange hum, almost like a whisper. And then he saw it, half buried in the ground, a silver, sleek object shaped like a long teardrop with deep cracks glowing faintly along its surface. It was a ship, but not a plane, not anything from Earth. Noah stepped closer, his instincts on high alert. There was no heat, no sign of fire, just smoke and the hum and movement. Near the edge of the wreck, something shifted. At first, he thought it was debris falling, but then he saw her. A figure crawling from the side of the ship covered in dark, battered armor. Her breathing was shallow, and her left arm hung oddly at her side, possibly broken. She looked almost human. Her skin was smooth with a faint, pale lavender tone, and her hair, long and silver, clung to her face. But her eyes were different. Larger than normal, a soft glow inside them, like starlight trapped in glass. Before he could speak, she looked directly at him. There was pain in her gaze, but also something else, desperation. She opened her mouth, and to his shock, she spoke in perfect English. "Hide me," she said. Her voice was firm but tired. "Please." Noah froze for a moment, unsure if this was real. Was he dreaming? Had he hit his head? But the smoke in his lungs and the pounding in his chest told him it was real. She was real, and she needed help. Without thinking too much, Noah moved forward and knelt beside her. "Can you walk?" She nodded weakly, then winced as she tried to stand. He helped her up, feeling the weight of her body lean into him. She was stronger than she looked, but clearly injured. "We have to go." "More will come," she whispered. "Who?" he asked, but she didn't answer. Instead, she pointed toward his truck. Time was running out. Noah helped her into the passenger seat, then threw a tarp over her in case anyone passed by. As he drove back toward his home, his mind raced with questions. Who was she? Where had she come from? Was this part of a military test, or something far beyond that? By the time they arrived at his property, the stars had returned to their quiet shine. He led her to his old barn, a place that hadn't been used in years. Inside it was dusty but private, and more importantly, safe. He laid out an old mattress on the floor and wrapped her in a blanket. She didn't speak much. Her eyes darted around the space, studying everything, the tools, the shelves, the rusted tractor in the corner. She was alert, even injured. He offered her some water. She took it with steady hands and drank slowly. Then she finally spoke again. "My name is Thalexa." Noah sat on a stool across from her. "I'm Noah." "What? Are you?" She looked at him carefully, as if deciding how much to say. "I'm a commander," she said. From a place far from here. I can't tell you everything yet, but I need time, and I need to hide." Noah didn't press further. Her voice was filled with sincerity, and her eyes, though tired, held no threat. He'd seen combat. He knew what fear looked like, and this wasn't it. This was survival. She was running from something. That night he slept lightly in a chair near the barn door, his old rifle resting by his side. Thalexa remained silent, watching him now and then as if unsure whether she could trust him. He didn't blame her. He had no answers, no plan. But he knew one thing for sure. Something from beyond Earth had landed in his life, and nothing would be the same after this. Somehow, deep in his bones, he also knew. She wasn't just here by accident. She had come for a reason, and she had chosen him. The sun rose slowly over the desert hills, casting golden light across Noah's land. The air was quiet, but his thoughts were anything but. He hadn't slept much. All night he kept checking on the barn, watching for movement, listening for strange sounds, and wondering what he had gotten himself into. Inside the barn, the woman, Thalexa, had remained still for hours. She was wrapped in an old quilt, lying on the mattress he had set out. Her breathing had steadied during the night, and some of the dirt and blood on her armor had dried. She looked peaceful, but Noah knew that peace was only on the surface. When she finally stirred, her movements were careful. She sat up slowly, glanced around the barn again, and looked toward the door. Her silver hair fell over her shoulder like soft threads of light, and for a moment, Noah forgot she wasn't from this world. He stepped inside with a small tray, some water, bread, and a peeled orange. He placed it beside her without a word. "You're still here," she said quietly. He nodded. "You're still breathing." She took the water first, drinking it fully, then looked at the orange. "This is food?" He smiled a little. "Try it. It's sweet." She picked up a slice, sniffed. It then placed it in her mouth. Her expression changed. Surprise, then something close to delight. "Strange, but not bad," she said. Noah leaned against a post nearby. "You said you're a commander. A commander of what?" Thalexa didn't answer right away. She looked at her hands, at the lines of light that ran faintly along her skin, barely visible unless you looked closely. "I was part of something bigger," she finally said. "A mission, a plan I believed in, until I saw what it was truly about." "What was it about?" he asked. Again, silence. Then slowly she looked up. "I'll tell you everything, but not yet. Not until I know I can trust you fully." Noah raised an eyebrow. "I saved your life. Isn't that enough trust?" Thalexa's gaze was steady. Saving someone's life and understanding their truth are not the same thing. Fair enough, Noah thought. Later that day, he helped her remove the damaged armor. Underneath, she wore a thin black suit made of a strange material, smooth, flexible, and almost like silk, but stronger. Parts of her body were bruised, especially around her shoulder and ribs. Her skin was pale lavender, almost translucent in some areas, and smooth like porcelain. Along her spine, there were faint glowing patterns like circuits. She wasn't just alien, she was part machine, or something more advanced than humans could understand. As Noah cleaned her wounds, she didn't flinch. She simply watched him, observing everything. "You've seen war," she said suddenly. He glanced at her. "Yeah, a long time ago." "It never really leaves, does it?" she said softly. "No, it doesn't." She was quiet again, letting the moment pass between them like a quiet breeze. Then she said something unexpected. "Tonight, I will tell you everything, but only if you're ready." He looked at her carefully. "What does that mean?" "It means you have to let your mind be open," she said. "No lies, no fear. You let me in, and I'll let you in. It sounded strange, almost like some kind of game, but something in her voice was serious, like a warning or a promise. Back at the house, Noah thought about what she meant. Let her in? Was she talking about her story or something more? Could she read thoughts? Could she see memories? He returned to the barn just as the sun dipped below the horizon. The sky had turned a deep orange and the shadows grew longer. Inside, Thalexa was standing now, her back to him, examining the tools on the wall. Rusty old wrenches, a few screwdrivers, and a broken drill. Your world builds things with such care, she said. But still, so fragile. We get by, he replied. Mostly, she turned around to face him. It's time. He didn't know what to expect, but something told him this night would not be ordinary. She motioned for him to sit across from her. She knelt down on the floor and placed her hands on her knees. Her voice was calm. You don't need to speak. Just listen and let go. Noah hesitated, then sat across from her, mirroring her position. She reached out, her fingers hovering near his forehead. If you don't want this, I'll stop. But if you let me, I will show you everything I've seen, everything I've lost. He gave a small nod. The moment her fingertips touched his skin, a warmth spread through his head, not painful but deep. His thoughts began to swirl. Memories, feelings, moments he hadn't thought of in years. The day his father died, the day he left the military, the moment he realized he was alone. And then, her memories. Flashes of stars, giant ships in orbit, cities made of light, screaming skies, soldiers running, fire falling from above, a planet, her home, burning from the inside out. He saw her standing in front of a council, arguing, shouting. She was trying to stop something, a plan, a mission that would lead to Earth's destruction. When they didn't listen, she fled. She took something with her, something powerful, something hidden inside her. When it ended, Noah opened his eyes, slowly, breath heavy. Thalexa was still sitting in front of him, her hands now resting on her lap. She looked tired, but peaceful. You saw it, she said softly. I saw everything, Noah whispered. They sat in silence for a while. No words were needed. Something had changed between them. They weren't just strangers anymore. They had shared something deeper than conversation, a connection. Noah stood and walked to the barn door. The desert was quiet again, stars glowing overhead like tiny watchful eyes. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring. But he knew now. This wasn't just about hiding an alien or fixing a broken ship. This was about trust, survival, and something bigger than either of them. And it had only just begun. The night air was cooler now, brushing softly against the wooden walls of the barn. Outside, the world slept. But inside, something very real had awakened between Noah and Thalexa, something neither of them fully understood yet. Noah sat quietly, on a small stool, still trying to catch his breath after what he had just experienced. The images, the emotions, the memories, they had all been real. Not like a dream or a story, but like he had actually lived her life for a few minutes. He could still feel the panic from the burning cities, the weight of command, the ache of betrayal, and the deep sadness she carried within her. He looked over at her. Thalexa sat on the mattress again, her eyes closed, face calm but pale. She was exhausted. The energy it took to share all of that must have been tremendous. Her silver hair fell over her shoulders, and her hands rested loosely in her lap. Despite everything, she looked peaceful. You didn't just tell me, Noah said quietly. You let me feel it. Thalexa opened her eyes slowly. It's the only way to tell the truth across worlds. Words are not always enough. Noah nodded. You trusted me? She looked at him, her expression unreadable. You trusted me first. A silence settled between them, not awkward, but thoughtful. So much had been revealed, yet so many questions remained. Noah finally broke the silence. That thing you're carrying inside you, the power source or whatever it is that why they're chasing you? She nodded. It's more than a power source. It's a neural core, something designed to unlock or disable any planetary defense system. My people were going to use it to invade Earth without firing a single shot. So, you stole it to stop them? Yes. I couldn't let Earth become another lost planet. I had to run. I didn't expect to crash here or survive. Noah leaned back and rubbed the back of his neck. It was a lot to take in. An alien war, a stolen weapon, and somehow he was in the middle of it. Are they still looking for you? He asked. Thalexa didn't answer right away. Then she said, Yes, they'll keep searching. And if they find me here, you'll be in danger too. He let that sink in. The smart move would be to walk away, let her go, report it all and go back to his quiet life. But deep down, he already knew he wouldn't do that. You came all this way, risked everything, Noah said. You don't have to run alone anymore. Thalexa stared at him for a moment, then gave the smallest nod. You don't know what that means to me. Later that night, as the barn grew quieter, Noah brought in a small radio and some candles to soften the dark. They sat near each other on the floor, not too close, not too far. The radio played a slow country song, the kind that told stories of long roads and quiet heartbreaks. Thalexa tilted her head, listening. Your music, it's filled with sorrow and hope. Yeah, Noah said with a smile. That's kind of our thing. She touched the speaker gently. We don't have this. Not in my world. We had knowledge, technology, control, but not this kind of feeling. You never listened to music? We were raised to be efficient, focused, art, emotion. It was seen as a distraction, but I always felt like something was missing. Well, he said, welcome to Earth. We cry over songs, fight over love, and find meaning in the little things. She laughed softly, a sound that surprised even her. I think I like it here. A little while later, the power in the barn flickered for a brief moment. The lights on Noah's old battery unit dimmed, then returned. Thalexa looked up sharply. They're scanning. Who? My people. Or those sent to find me. They use energy pulses to locate tech signatures. We have to shield everything tonight. Noah stood quickly. I've got lead sheets in the shed. I use them for welding work. Will that help? She nodded. It should. Hurry. They spent the next hour working together, covering the walls, wrapping the power source, disabling all electronics. Thalexa even used a strange tool from her armor to dampen the ship's remaining signals, even though it was buried under dirt and wreckage. When it was done, the barn looked like a strange mix of Earth and something else entirely. Tools next to alien parts, metal sheets next to blankets, two different worlds, trying to blend. After the rush was over, they sat down again, this time closer. The radio had gone silent, but the sound of the wind outside filled the space between them. Are you scared? Noah asked quietly. Yes, she said honestly. But not of them. He looked at her. Then what? I'm afraid of hope, she whispered. It's easier to run when you don't expect anyone to care. He didn't speak, but the way he looked at her, calm, steady, was answer enough. For a long while they sat like that. Not strangers, not quite friends. Something new was forming between them, built on trust, truth, and shared silence. As the night deepened, Noah offered her a spare pillow. Try to rest, he said. Thalexa lay back, her eyes watching him as he moved to the corner with a blanket and settled into his chair. I've seen 1,000 stars, she said softly. But this barn feels safer than any ship. Noah smiled as he closed his eyes. Then maybe you found the right place to stop running. And just like that, the night moved on. Two souls from different worlds finding quiet in each other's presence. Not everything made sense. Not everything was clear. But for the first time in a long time, for both of them, it felt like something was beginning. Morning came quietly, with a soft breeze sweeping across the land and the smell of dust hanging in the air. Noah woke up to the gentle sound of birds outside and the creaking of the barn's wooden walls. For a moment, he forgot everything: the crash, the alien ship, the secrets. But then he opened his eyes and saw her. Thalexa was already awake, sitting by the barn door, her knees pulled up to her chest. Her silver hair caught the sunlight like threads of morning light. She looked peaceful, but her eyes told another story. She was thinking deeply, worried. Noah stood and stretched, his muscles sore from sleeping in the old chair. "You didn't sleep much," he said. Thalexa shook her head. "There's no time to sleep. They're getting closer." "You can feel it?" "Yes," she said. "They scan for energy, movement, heat, and emotion. We're connected in ways hard to explain. I can sense their intention. It's not far now." Noah rubbed his jaw. "Then we need a plan. You can't keep hiding forever." She looked at him then. "You're right. It's time to stop hiding. I didn't just come here to run. I came here to find someone like you." Noah frowned. "Like me? Someone who understands both strength and care. Someone willing to act, even when afraid." He didn't know what to say. No one had ever described him like that before. Not since his time in the Air Force. Not since his world had gone quiet. Thalexa stood and walked to the workbench. She picked up a small piece of tech from her damaged armor and placed it on the table. It looked like a thin, flat coin glowing faintly at the center. "This is the core," she said. "Or at least part of it." Noah stared at it. "That little thing is what they're after?" She nodded. "It looks small, but inside it is a system that can break through almost any defense. A planet's security systems, its satellites, its communications. If connected to a larger device, it can shut down power across entire continents." "And you've been carrying that inside you?" he asked, amazed. "Hidden beneath the skin, linked to my nervous system. It's the only way to keep it out of scanners." Noah leaned in closer. "Why are you showing me this now?" "Because I have to make a choice. I can't keep it inside me. Not if they're close. If they capture me, they'll take it and use it. But if I remove it, someone must protect it." Her eyes met his, steady and strong. "That someone has to be you." Noah felt a cold chill run through his chest. "Me? I'm not a soldier anymore." "You don't have to be. You just have to be who you already are." He looked at the device again. It looked harmless, but he could feel the weight of what it meant. If it fell into the wrong hands, it wouldn't just be dangerous. It could destroy everything. Thalexa reached into a small pouch on her belt and pulled out a delicate tool, no larger than a pen. "I can extract it safely, but it will take time, and I'll be weak after. You'll need to protect us both." Noah nodded slowly. "Okay, let's do it." She gave him a brief look, part surprise, part gratitude. Then she laid back on the mattress and handed him the tool. "Hold it steady while I guide your hand." What followed wasn't like any surgery Noah had ever seen. There was no blood, no pain. The tool glowed faintly as Thalexa instructed him where to move it, just along a seam behind her shoulder. A soft hiss, a spark, and then the core lifted out like a glowing leaf rising from water. Thalexa's body relaxed, her eyes fluttering closed. "It's done." Noah placed the core into a small lead box she'd prepared earlier. The moment it was sealed, the light around them seemed to fade, as if the energy had pulled back. He covered her with the blanket and sat beside her, watching over her as she rested. Hours passed. The wind blew outside, soft and dry. But inside, the silence was full of meaning. By evening, she stirred again. "You still have it?" she asked weakly. "Safe and sound," Noah said. She smiled faintly. "You did well." But before they could speak more, a soft vibration moved through the ground. Noah stood quickly and looked toward the window. In the far distance, something shimmered. A light, a shape, something hovering. "They found us," he said. Thalexa sat up slowly. "Then we moved to the next step." "What's that?" "We make them believe it's over." She explained her idea quickly. They would create a false signal, a decoy. Using a piece of her damaged armor and some basic equipment, they would simulate a meltdown, something that would make the enemy believe the core was destroyed in an explosion. Thalexa's people wouldn't search a place they thought was already ruined. With only minutes to spare, they worked together. Noah wired an old car battery to a homemade amplifier. Thalexa calibrated the armor piece to emit one final energy burst. The signal was sharp, brief, and convincing. From far away, it would look like a failed power surge, just enough to make it seem like the core was gone for good. They watched from the ridge as a dark, silent ship hovered briefly over the barn that night. No lights, no sound. Then it vanished, into the clouds. "They're pulling back," Thalexa said, breathing deeply. "They think the trail's gone cold." Noah looked at her. "So what now?" "We disappear," she said. "Together. If we stay here, they'll find us again. But if we move, stay low, we can keep the core safe and maybe one day give it to the right people." He nodded slowly. "And if they ever come again, we'll be ready." As the desert wind blew across the land once more, the two of them packed what little they had. A truck, a toolbox, a lead case holding the most dangerous item on the planet, and two people who had nothing in common but everything to lose. They drove into the darkness, the road ahead unknown, but the mission clear. The desert road stretched endlessly before them. The stars above were bright and clear, like tiny lanterns lighting the way. Noah drove steadily, hands firm on the wheel, while Thalexa sat beside him, quiet and thoughtful. The small lead box containing the alien core rested between them on the seat, still, silent, but heavy with purpose. They had no fixed destination, only a direction, away from the wreck, away from danger, and toward something safer, though neither of them knew. "Exactly what that would be. Do you trust me?" Thalexa asked, suddenly, breaking the quiet. Noah glanced at her. "I think I did the day I carried you out of the crash." She gave a soft smile. "I didn't expect anyone on this planet to care." "That makes two of us," Noah replied, smiling faintly. They stopped before dawn in an abandoned gas station along the highway. The place was dusty, forgotten by time. Noah parked the truck behind the building to stay hidden. Inside, they found a working light and a small storeroom with blankets and bottled water. It wasn't much, but it was enough. Thalexa rested on a folded jacket while Noah sat beside her. They didn't talk for a while. They didn't need to. Sometimes, silence is the strongest form of trust. Later that morning, Noah contacted someone he hadn't spoken to in years. Colonel Sam Raines, a former superior officer from his Air Force days. Back then, Sam had been known for dealing with off-the-record situations, things the public never heard about, things that didn't fit in normal reports. Noah wasn't sure if he'd answer, but he had no better option. When the old voice finally answered on the other end, it was rough and suspicious. "Who is this?" "It's Noah Carter," he said. There was a pause. Then, "I thought you disappeared." "I did," Noah said, "but I found something. Or maybe someone found me." Sam didn't ask for details over the phone. He simply gave Noah a location and told him to arrive quietly and alone. No records, no questions. A hidden military site buried deep in the Colorado mountains, secure, isolated. Noah ended the call and looked at Thalexa. "Are you ready for this?" She nodded. "If we're handing this over, it must be to someone who understands what it is and what it could become." They spent the next 2 days traveling back roads, avoiding highways, sleeping in short shifts. The journey was long, but their bond grew stronger. They shared stories. Noah about his childhood, the day he left, the Air Force, and the people he'd lost. Thalexa spoke of her planet's skies, the gardens that floated in the air, and her younger sister who once dreamed of visiting other worlds. It was during one of these quiet talks that Thalexa turned to him and said, "You were never just the one who found me. You were the one I needed to find." Noah didn't answer right away. He didn't need to. He just reached over and gently squeezed her hand. When they finally arrived at the hidden military site, it was nearly midnight. Cold wind swept through the trees as tall gates opened to let them in. Men in plain uniforms took the truck, while a small group guided them inside. Colonel Rains was waiting in a concrete room lit by one dull overhead bulb. He hadn't changed much. Older, yes, but sharp-eyed and focused. He stared at Thalexa for a long time. Then he looked at Noah. "You weren't lying." "I told you," Noah said. "She's not a threat." Colonel Rains studied the lead, box for a moment. "Is that what I think it is?" "It's more dangerous than you think," Noah said. "But she took it to keep it from being used, not to use it." Thalexa stepped forward. Her voice was calm but firm. "You can study it, protect it, but if you try to use it as a weapon, others will come. And they won't be as merciful as I was." Rains nodded slowly. "Understood." The next few hours were filled with questions, scans, quiet conversations behind closed doors. Noah stayed by Thalexa's side through all of it. He could tell she didn't trust the place, but she was holding on because she trusted him. By sunrise, a decision had been made. The Corps would be locked in a secure chamber under constant watch. Thalexa would not be held prisoner. Instead, she would be offered quiet asylum in a secret location, monitored but respected. When Rains asked Noah what he planned to do, Noah simply said, "I go where she goes." The colonel raised an eyebrow. "You sure?" Noah nodded. "I've seen enough war, enough loss. I'd rather protect something worth keeping." A few days later, they were flown quietly to a small home hidden deep in the forest, far from towns, far from questions. It had everything they needed: books, tools, even a garden, a place to rest, a place to think. There, they started building a new life. It wasn't a normal life. How could it be? But it was real. Noah fixed things around the house, cooked meals, and taught Thalexa how to use simple earth tools. Thalexa, in return, showed him how to repair energy systems and understand alien technology, using harmless parts left from her damaged armor. They often sat under the trees at night, watching the stars in silence. One evening, as the fire cracked quietly outside their cabin, Thalexa looked up at the sky and whispered, "I used to believe my home was out there. And now?" Noah asked. She looked at him. "Now I think maybe it's here." Noah didn't reply. He simply reached over and wrapped the blanket around both of them. Far above, beyond what the eye could see, other ships might still be searching. Other threats could return someday. But for now, in that quiet corner of the earth, two souls from different worlds had found peace. Not because they had all the answers, but because, together, they had chosen to protect something that mattered, and that was enough.